Oh, really? It's 6 o'clock. It is. Okay, guys, we will now call Wednesday, May 1st, 2024 regular meeting of the Twinville Community Services District Board of Directors to order. Okay, Jerry, would you please call the roll?
President Linder?
Yes.
Director Biden?
Here.
Director Couch? Here. Director Mann?
Here.
Director Rossini?
Present. Thank you. Director Couch, would you please lead us in pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a note to myself to set that clock properly tomorrow morning.
It'll be wrong by next month.
Yeah, well, okay. All right, are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Yeah, no additions or changes to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion with a second, Gary?
President Linder?
Yes.
Director Biden?
Yes.
Director Couch?
Yes.
Director Mann?
Yes.
Director Rossini?
Yes.
Okay, item B, public hearings. These are items of a quasi-judicial or legislative nature. Public comments relevant to these proceedings are invited. There are no public hearings scheduled for the evening. Public comment and written communication. Any person may address the board at this time on any subject not identified in this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinneyville Community Services District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for reported action as a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. Is there any member in the gallery or on Zoom who wishes to make public comment? I see none. Do we have any written communications?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, item D, consent calendar. Consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board of directors at one time without discussion. If any board member, staff member, or interested persons request that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so that it may be acted on separately. Is there anyone that requests that an item be removed to be acted on separately? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Jerry, would you please call the roll?
President Linder?
Yes.
Director Biden?
Yes.
Director Couch?
Yes.
Director Mann?
Yes.
Director Rossini?
Yes.
Okay, item E1. Consider adoption of resolution 2024-09 supporting assembly concurrent resolution number 163 and proclaiming May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Special Districts Week. Jerry is presenting.
Thank you, President Linder. On March 21st, 2024, California Assemblymember Hart introduced Assembly Concurrent Resolution number 163, proclaiming May 19th through May 25th, 2024 to be Special Districts Week. Special Districts Week will help promote and educate the public about local public service providers, including awareness and understanding of special districts, in addition to encouraging the public to become involved in their communities and civically engage with their local government. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided and adopt Resolution 2024-09, Attachment 1, supporting Assembly Concurrent Resolution number 163 and proclaiming May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Special Districts Week.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any comments? Staff have any comments? No, okay. Is there a motion to approve the adoption of this resolution?
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Josh, would you please call the roll?
President Linder?
Yes.
Director Biden?
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Bam,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, that motion is passed. Item E2, consider adoption of Resolution 2024-11, recognizing, honoring, and commending Leslie Frisbee for 20 years of service. And this item will be presented by Pat Gaspard, our General Manager.
Thank you, President Binder. Attached for the Board of Directors review is Resolution 2024-11, recognizing, honoring, and commending Leslie Frisbee for her 20 continuous years of service. Leslie's commitment to the district and the community of McKinleyville is unparalleled. She applies her knowledge, commitment, empathy, and expertise not only to the district's Park and Recreation Department, but to district management as a whole, as well as to the entire community of McKinleyville, and serves on the board of the Boys and Girls Club of the Redwoods, as well as the Family Resource Center. These are just a few of the accomplishments that Leslie has achieved, and staff would like to read the resolution into the record to highlight some of her other achievements. So, Resolution 2024-11, a resolution recognizing, honoring, and commending Leslie Frisbee for serving the McKinleyville Community Services District for 20 continuous years. Whereas Leslie Frisbee, having faithfully served 20 continuous years as an employee of the McKinleyville Community Services District from May 3rd, 2004 to May 3rd, 2024, and whereas throughout her years of service, Leslie has demonstrated incredibly high standards of professionalism, community service, commitment, and dedication, and whereas Leslie has lent her talents and leadership to the district, first as a recreation supervisor and then as a Parks and Rec director, capably leading and directing the efforts of the Parks and Rec team with exceptional professionalism, foresight, and dedication. And whereas Leslie lends her vast knowledge of recreation, community programs, and leadership to other organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club of the Redwoods, the McKinleyville Family Resource Center, and continually represents the district in the best possible light while enhancing and building community in McKinleyville. And whereas Leslie has made significant improvements to the recreation needs and programs and MCSD parks and facilities, and is fundamentally responsible for the passage of the Measure B assessment update, the creation of the BMX park, acquiring the community forest land, and obtaining numerous grants that have been awarded for parks, facilities, and programming throughout the years. And whereas under Leslie's leadership, the district's Park and Recreation staff are exceptional and excel at their positions, and she has had an extraordinary impact on the rest of the district staff through providing staff-wide trainings to improve communication, leadership, and management skills. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the McKinleyville Community Services Districts hereby confer upon Leslie Frisbee its highest commendation for the dedicated service she has performed for the district and the community, and further marks her historic accomplishment as a McKinleyville Community Services District employee for 20 years. So staff recommends the Board of Directors consider the adoption of Resolution 2024-11 honoring Leslie Frisbee for her 20 years of service, and take public comment and approve Resolution 2024-11.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the board have any comments? I'm sure we do. Start down
You're
here.
gonna start down with
Okay, we'll start with Director Wyman.
Leslie, thank you. It's been a delight to work with you, and I have been continually impressed in hearing the dedication, and I've learned so much from you. Congratulations on 20 years. Well, thank you for that community service, all that you've done for 20 years.
Congratulations. We talked about this earlier a little bit, and I am really happy for the move for you. And but I'm also always a mercenary bastard, and I worry about all the good stuff that she did extra on our grants and projects, and that just wouldn't have been accomplished, or at least accomplished as soon or well, if Leslie hadn't been there doing it. And I can tell you that that's a huge has been a huge benefit to our district and our projects, our infrastructures. And thank you very much.
Yes, I concur with both of their sentiments. Thank you very much for your years of service to the district. I appreciate not only your skill at writing grants, but your leadership and the way that morale is in your department, frankly. And I wish you best of luck in your new position. And you're a great example to those of us who wish to pursue more community service by taking on roles outside of the district in your community, such as the Boys and Girls Club and the FRC. So thank you very much for your service, and look forward to seeing what you have to offer in your new position.
Well, thank you, Leslie. I don't have too much to. So, there we go. Thanks, Leslie. I don't have too much to add. I appreciate your lateral move. I mean, I hope you're good for another 20 years, or I don't know what your goal is. Whatever it is, I think it'll be good for the district. So, thank you very much.
Leslie. So I could go on with accolades about your professional performance and what a great asset you've been to McKinleyville Community Services District to our community and all the boards you serve on and the things you do to support other entities here in McKinleyville. But I'd like to talk a little bit about personally. And I'd just like to say that Leslie's probably one of the most honest people I've ever met in my whole life. I could always count on her. When the door closed, when she'd come into my office, when I was the general manager and the door would close, I was always prepared to know that I was going to be addressed in an honest, direct manner. And it was very refreshing for me to know that I could count on Leslie to be that person that I could sound off of, and it would give me a true reflection of what was going on around the district and things like that. And that was immensely helpful, not only for things around the office, but also for me in my personal and professional development. So I want to thank you very much for all those things, and I want to wish you nothing but luck in your new endeavors working in the HR department for McKinleyville Community Services District. I know that whoever replaces you in the Parks and Rec department will have your support, and that will be very important for them. And you being involved in who's selected for that position assures me that the right person will get that job. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Does staff have any comments for her? How about the public?
He was inhaling so he could start talking.
I was waiting for James to jump in.
I guess I thought he was talking to staff out there, so I'm sorry. Can we go back?
We can't. Does James have any comments?
Yes.
Has he got you nothing further to add?
I really have nothing further to add, but no, I guess on the work side of things, Leslie crushes it and takes on more than she should take on sometimes. But I mainly enjoy, we've gotten it down to just one word text, walk. And either one of us sends that text, it's out back, let's just debrief and like get everything out of our head and get back to work. But no, I much appreciate Leslie for those walks mainly. So they
Since you did HR,
I'm going to jump in. I said most of the things I wanted to say in the resolution, but I just wanted to, and Leslie knows this, I couldn't do this job without her, absolutely. She makes every day that much better at the district and in the community of McKinleyville for all the things she does. So thank you, Leslie.
recognize Colleen on Zoom.
Yeah, if you can hear me. I just want to say congratulations, Leslie. And watching you develop new skill sets over the years has been really just fantastic. Because I remember when you started as the Parks and Rec director and didn't know a whole lot about budgets and financial stuff, and watching you just develop those skills and find out that you were like actually really good at them um, is an absolute joy. And I mean, aside from just it being a pleasure to work with you as a person, like watching your professional development too was really cool. Anyway, congratulations.
Okay.
Better jump in, Joey.
I know, I'm gonna try. Leslie is like one of my favorite people in the world. Since I started the district, she has been, when I'm having big feelings, I know I can go talk to Leslie and help her. She helps process them, and that's personally, and like James said, as far as work goes, I don't know how Leslie finds enough hours in the day to do everything that she does and holds together, and she's the true definition of a leader. Congrats, Leslie.
Is there any more staff who wishes to make comments? Hey.
Can I just speak for the Okay. Well, I'm finding out that a lot of people have the same confidence in Leslie that I have over the years, and have been able to have that frank conversation that you need to have with somebody. I also want to just also add to the fact that yes, Leslie is a great leader, and I've seen her cultivate her leadership skills over the years. This is intentional, and it's inspiring, and I'm going to be short and sweet, but just the fact that some of the techniques she uses to motivate people, and one of the things is, what is your why? Why do you do these things? Why are you pursuing this job? Why are you working in the community? And that was really something that resonated with me. I just thought I would add that in there, and I really appreciate it. I've been able to work with Leslie and learn so many great things and work together and accomplish things together over the years. So thanks, Leslie. Congratulations.
It's not a question. Well, I also work under Leslie, and she has been a great mentor, friend, everything. Since I moved here, not knowing where the hell Lincoln Middle was, when I accepted my interview, I applied a bunch of places that were Northern California, in the forest, in the woods. That's where I wanted to go to after getting my recreation degree from Fresno State and living in Tahoe, moving here. And so I was accepted willingly because I was just so eager and ready to get into recreation, and I think it was the perfect fit for me because I've learned so much and I've grown so much in my career underneath her, and I really appreciate that she's very approachable. She's always willing to help out. She is such an asset to our entire district. She helps out everyone. It doesn't matter what department you're in. I think it's been said by everyone that she just is great. And so, congratulations. 20 years feels like a monumental amount of time. And I also am so excited for you. To be transitioning and then being able to kind of lean more into what you want to grow into, which is that leadership, coaching, HR world. So I'm so excited for you.
Is there any other staff who wishes to make comments? Is there any members of the public who wishes to make comment?
Lisa Dugan has her hand raised.
Okay, oh, thank you. Lisa? On Zoom, she's in there.
Thank you. I just got the unmute cue. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Lisa Dugan. I just wanted to, on behalf of Johnny and I, say a huge thank you and congratulations to Leslie. We both work with her in different capacities, on different boards or committees, and she's truly a gem, and this community is so fortunate to have her, and I know she's going to do great things for MCSD in her new capacity. And Leslie, thanks so much, and excited to see you blossom in your next role.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to adopt this resolution. Oh, Leslie.
Thank you. It's really weird that everybody says really nice things about you. 20 years, it kind of blows my mind because it feels like a long time, but at the same time, it feels like no time. I started as a part-time rec leader running an after-school program up at Dow's Prairie. And then I got to run youth and adult sports programs and then our day camps, and it just, I had a really lovely journey. And all I ever wanted to do as an adult person was to be a good influence. Like that was, when somebody asked me that my freshman year in college, that was the only answer I could come up with. And I found a career in it, so I am super blessed. I'm very grateful to the district for all of the opportunities that I have had for learning and growth over the years. It's very bittersweet that 20 years, I'm also choosing to transition to a new capacity, but it's exciting. It's also exciting. Like I've been doing this work for over 20 years, and it was recreation work for over 20 years, and it's lovely. I love all the things I've gotten to do, even some of the things that I had to do I didn't love were great learning opportunities, and I will be sad to let go of some of that, but I'm also excited to be able to serve the district's employees in a different capacity. And thank you all so much for the loving and kind words. I'm really grateful.
You finally figured out a way to get out of coming to the board meetings. Good job.
I think Pat still might make me come.
If that's all the people, I haven't missed anybody, have I? I guess not. Okay, now I'll call for a motion to adopt the resolution.
I wholeheartedly, when Tom recommends staff's, or motion with staff's recommendation. Well, I forgot what I was going to say.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Joe, please call the roll.
President Binder,
Yes.
Director Biden,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Bam,
Yes.
and Director Racine.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes. Congratulations.
We had some photos, sorry. Sorry, folks, thanks for putting up with us. All of us.
Yeah. Usually, of course. Retirement. Old crowds. She's got more, she can hold more stuff.
And unless you guys want to look like you're at the D&D.
Can I give Marshall and can all the MCSD staff go on the
She wants all of you to take a picture of her.
No, good, yeah. All right, ready? 1, 2. Oh, come on, this one too.
Well, she can miss it, it's fine, personal.
Okay. That's fine. Do one more just in case. That would get good. In case it sounds better. One more. Oh, got it. Oh.
Were you in the back?
This is a wandering Jew and a coleus, and what's the other one? Wandering Jew, a coleus, and I didn't know what the third one was.
No, it's not lambs. I know it's the one plant I know. Thank you.
At night, the coleus kind of curl up, like, like you're just kind of cool. Then they open up in the morning. They're cool.
Okay, moving along to item E3. We will consider adoption of resolution 2024-10, recognizing, honoring, and commending Christopher Jones for 20 years of service. This item is presented by Pat Gaspari and James Henry.
I'm going to let Operations Director Henry handle this one.
Just because you put your name on there. Attached to the Board of Directors review is Resolution 2024-10, recognizing, honoring, and commending Christopher G. Jones for his 20 continuous years of service. Please join us in presenting Chris with the resolution and longevity award acknowledging him for his continuous service at the McKinleyville Community Service District. And I too will struggle, but will read this resolution for the record. Resolution 2024-10, a resolution recognizing, honoring, and commending Christopher Jones for serving McKinleyville Community Service District for 20 continuous years. Whereas Christopher Jones, having faithfully served 20 continuous years as an employee of the McKinleyville Community Service District from April 21, 2004 to April 21, 2024. So he was here before Leslie. And I believe Chris, I guess I should, I'll tell you later. Whereas throughout his years of service, Chris has demonstrated unwavering loyalty and dedication. And whereas Chris lends his talents, experience, and leadership to the development and service to the district, having served a variety of positions such as facilities inspector, mechanic, treatment plant operator, equipment operator, and whereas Chris is assisted in training new employees on district procedures such as hydro-cleaning, new service installations, leak repairs, and paving, to name a few, and takes the time to share his gifted troubleshooting skills. And whereas Chris has assisted in several projects resulting in substantial cost savings to the district, from station rehabilitation upgrades, manhole repairs, new construction inspections, vehicle repairs, and servicing. And now therefore be resolved that the Board of Directors of the McKinleyville Community Service District hereby confers upon Christopher Jones its highest commendation for the dedicated service he has performed for the district and the community, and further marks his historic accomplishment as a McKinleyville Community Service District employee for 20 years. And what I was going to add on this is, Chris did mention that because he was here before Leslie, he did teach Leslie everything that she knows. So he wanted me to put that in there. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors consider adopting Resolution 2024-10, honoring Christopher Jones for his 20 continuous years of service at the McKinleyville Community Service District. Discuss and take public comment.
Okay, thank you, James. We'll take it back to the board for comment. Let's just start. We'll start with Greg this time.
Start with me this time. Okay. Hey, Chris. So it just came to me. One of the highlights of your career was when you put the Batman cutout of the treatment plant, and James got called out and opened the door to the treatment plant, the lab, and Batman was standing there waiting for him. That was priceless. There was a time I came in the morning, Chris used to have to do the monthly inspection and do all the alarms and that in the morning at 7:30 before everybody got there, and we won't go into why he had to do that, but you can only imagine. I know he scared the hell out of me at least one time when I'd walk in the morning and there shouldn't be anybody there and the alarm was still set. I don't know how he figured that out to be able to do that. And Joey told me the same story about him having it happen to him. But anyway, now to get to a little bit more substantive stuff. Chris, you've been a team player since you started working for the district. You're honest, you're thorough, you take great pride in what you do. I don't think I ever heard you say, I can't do that unless you're messing around. So thank you very much for your 20 years. I can't, it's just, that's a long time, but it doesn't seem like that long ago you were first starting working for the district. And so thank you very much for your service.
Well, thank you, Chris. As a board member, I don't know you that well, but you know, I know the job you do, and 20 years is a great time. I was happy to actually see hydro cleaning as something in the board packet. We don't get to talk about that kind of stuff enough. It's a pretty important thing for the district. So thank you very much for all you do.
Hey, thank you for your service. And, you know, we're better for having you. We're better for having you on our staff, and well, 20 years, quite a while. I don't know too much about you or too many other of the ops guys, but I have heard some stories, and it sounds like you've had a lot of fun along the way. So keep having fun, and we'll see you down the road for your next anniversary here. Okay? Thanks.
Where you hiding? There you are. I know a lot about you. And I'm glad for the last 20 years we kept you hooked up and out of jail. But you have basically worn a whole lot of hats all at one time, and you've done a lot for the community. I personally know that myself for things that you do for ratepayers, and that's extra, and we really appreciate that. Not just the job, the normal job that you do, but your demeanor with the public, our ratepayers is huge. So thank you. Good luck, Brian.
Well, Chris, I haven't had the opportunity to get to know you. I've only been here relatively short time in comparison to your years of service. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all that you've done and all that you do. I'm especially grateful because I don't hear anything other than how well this organization runs, how well the services are provided. And obviously it's because of the good work that you've done over the years. So I'd like to, as a member of the board, thank you. Thank you for making my job easy. Thank you for supporting our community in such wonderful ways. So thank you, especially for 20 years of service.
Okay, is there any members of the staff who would like to make some comments?
Chris has done a lot for the district, as has been noted, so I'm not going to talk about that, because the truth is I don't really know anything about what happens in the water and sewer department, except that toilets keep flushing and people have clean drinking water, and for that we are all grateful. But the thing about Chris that I have appreciated over the 20 years, but really, I only got to know Chris in maybe the last 8, because I was not inclined to make friends at work for a really long time. His attitude. Chris is always smiling. no matter what's going on. He has a great attitude. If you ask him how he's doing, it's always wonderful. He's always got an upbeat, positive attitude, and I think that it infects everyone else. It's hard to be grumpy around Chris, and it's really nice to have people like that at your workplace who don't let you be grumpy for too long and are always willing to make you laugh. He's always good for a good practical joke, even sometimes if they're so good, they make you cry. And I think it's important that everybody knows that Chris is afraid of spiders.
That's so.
But I appreciate you, Chris, thanks for everything you've done.
I guess I should have went before Leslie, because she hit on the topic I really wanted to hit on. It's pretty self-explanatory. Chris is a really well-rounded and does a lot for the district, but his top asset is his morale, his smiles, his never having a bad day, which, you know, is not normal. I'll stop there. But no, it's something I always thank Chris for in his reviews is, you know, here's what you've done, here's where you're going, great job, and thank you for, you know, the morale and keeping everybody uplifted. He is definitely a big, you know, piece of the puzzle, and that I appreciate very much from him. As far as the jokes, you know, I've been on a few sides. It's the Batman thing has happened to me, and I really did scare me bad. And I did pee. That is on record. But, you know, there was definitely is one of those, you don't need a donut in the office, and Chris brings them.
Oh, I forgot about the donut.
And especially if it's his favorite donut, and he knows you're gonna eat it. And, you know, just everything else, if your water tastes funny in your water bottle, you know something's going on. So it's definitely, if you leave anything behind, and Chris in the office, you throw everything out and you start over. And I've learned that, and that's just how it is. Chris, thank you for bringing smiles.
So I'm gonna jump in.
Anyone else?
Sure, your first chore, HR, that one's go straight for
Well, I was gonna say, my mom always told me, if you don't have something good to say about something, don't say anything, so I was gonna have nothing further to add. But, it goes to Chris's character. No, it's obvious that he's a big pain in the ass. He is. But he's very much respected by his peers and coworkers, and that goes to show just how great a guy he is. No matter how much of a pain he is, he's still a great guy and knows what the hell he's doing, and is a huge asset for the district. So thanks, Chris, and congratulations.
Chris has jump scared me so many times, and I have said so many things that I wouldn't say in front of my mother in those moments. But Chris is also one of the most faithful friends you can count on, one of the hardest working people I've ever known, and he knows when it's time to joke, and he makes it very clear that he knows when it's time to work. He's extremely dedicated, and I very much look up to him. Thank you, Chris, congratulations.
Okay, Colleen?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, I didn't work on the operations side, but there was definitely a couple of days when I came into my office and found that my mouse wouldn't work, and I couldn't figure out why. And eventually I did figure it out, and eventually I figured out who had adjusted my mouse. And I have to say, dude, I don't have nearly as many funny pranks in my life anymore as I did when I was working at the district. My 6-year-old nephew is trying, and he'll get there eventually, but maybe I need to bring him over so you can like teach him, because he'd really like to beat you on that one. But no, it was really great working with you. And congratulations. This is really a big milestone. Take it easy, man.
it's a bless or a curse. You're born with it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Anyone sitting out there wishes to speak? How about Chris? You want to say a few words?
I'll say a couple words.
Of course you will. I thought we voted not to do that.
That was a prank.
Oh.
So it's been a pleasure to work with the district for 20 years. I mean, I'm pretty smart, and every job I get done, I do it with passion and drive. But I think one thing I love to do is make people enjoy coming to work. And if I can just help them put a smile on their face, then it's worth it to me. So thank you for the recognition.
So you think when you changed all the keys on my keyboard that one time, did it put a smile on my face?
But it put a smile on so many other
Okay. Are there any last minute comments before I call for a motion to approve this resolution? Saying none, I'll call for a motion to approve this resolution.
I wholeheartedly move staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have one wholehearted move. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Director Biden. Joey, would you please call the roll?
President Bitter,
Yes?
Director Biden,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Okay.
and Director Orsini.
Yes.
All right. And then, congratulations. This motion's approved.
And if people will clap with us again for them taking some of the
Yeah, we're gonna get a picture, and then we have a couple of minutes for presentation. All you guys get a picture, then I'll pull out, we had a couple gifts for them.
Some of them specially marked Budweiser beer.
Less than an story behind it.
I can't believe that thing is still around. There it is. That's pretty fancy chair.
I mean, act like you like each other.
We're not trained. We're not trained in picture taking.
Everybody good.
You're not. He's in the lead. He's not everybody. Oh, my God.
Turn around, take a picture of yourself. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't do selfies. Here you go. There's the. Congratulations.
Same age and we're here 20 years.
Was it?
No, I might need it someday. It clogs up my closet. Oh, yeah. I might need it someday.
Okay, moving along, item E4, consider approval of ordinance 2024-02, amending regulations 47, pertaining to the use guidelines of McMinnville Community Forest. This is the first reading, and this item will be presented by Recreation Director Leslie Grisby.
On April 3rd, 2024, the Board of Directors approved the second reading of Ordinance 2024-01, which amended the district's rules and regulations to include regulations governing the McMinnville Community Forest. At that time, members of the mountain biking community came forward in disagreement with Regulation 47, Rule 4702, prohibiting the use of electric bicycles in the community forest. The board approved Ordinance 2024-01 and requested that the Park and Recreation Committee submit a recommendation for revised language to Rule 4702. At the April 17th, 2024 Park and Recreation Committee meeting, the committee drafted and unanimously voted to recommend the following revision, shown in track changes, and excluding the definitions, which are listed in italics, of Class 1 and 2 e-bikes, which were added by District Council following the park meeting. The rule reads as follows. Rule 4702, motorized and electric vehicle use prohibited. Public recreation use of the community forest property does not include use or operation of any motorized or electric vehicle. Recreational use must be done via pedestrian use or horseback, pedestrian use, bicycle, or including Class 1 and 2 electric bicycles, or horseback. Bicycles yield to equestrians and pedestrians. Pedestrians yield to equestrians. Operation of non-motorized vehicles within the community forest property must comply with existing Rule 4104 of these rules and regulations. For purposes of this Rule 4702, a Class 1 electric bicycle shall mean a pedal-assist electric bicycle with a motor no greater than 750 watts and maximum assisted speed not to exceed 20 miles per hour. For purposes of this Rule 4702, a Class 2 electric bicycle shall mean a bicycle that can be ridden without pedal assist with a motor no greater than 750 watts and a maximum assisted speed not to exceed 20 miles per hour. Ordinance 2024-02 can be reviewed in Attachment 1. This is the first reading of the ordinance. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and approve the first reading of the ordinance number 2024-02 by title only.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. I'll take it back to the board for comments. Does any of the board wish to comment on this item?
Item agenda, or record. I don't like the position that I've been put in. I'm very uncomfortable with it, but I recognize when I accepted this position on the board, that I accepted the responsibility that came with that. This, to me, is not about whether I like e-bikes or don't like e-bikes. This is about whether this ordinance at this time represents an adequate input of all parties in the community who would use the community forest. I've gotten enough input from quiet users, not e-bike users. And by the way, I'm a cyclist, I love to cycle. But I've got enough input from others who have told me bluntly, if those high-speed silent bicycles are out there on the trails, I won't go into the forest. I don't know that necessarily applies, but what it does tell me is that there is an unresolved fear among members of our community and a belief that they have not been adequately heard in this process. And on that basis, I intend to vote against this revision.
Okay, is there any other comments from the board?
Okay, yeah, I do. I want to just concur with the feelings that Director Biden expressed. And correct me if I'm wrong, Director Biden, but it's about process, I think. Or no, I don't think. My feeling is the same way that process is everything in this. I believe that's Jim's position too. We went out of our way to develop a committee. The committee isn't done yet. The committee hasn't done any work yet. And I think it's really important for us to stick to the commitment that we started with in the beginning, to have the whole community involved and to develop our protocols and our policies with that in mind, and with the committee that's it all. I'm confident that, in fact, what staff has produced for us will be very, very close, if not the same, to what we decide to do at the end of the process. Okay, but I think it's really important for us to just honor the process. Okay, there are going to be people using that forest till we get this done in any which manner that they have used to doing, and till we get our ducks all in a row. So, I mean, I don't think any of us, and I don't think Director Biden is either, throwing down the gauntlet and saying, by golly, we'll have X, Y, and Z done to you if you're doing whatever, because we don't even have that worked out yet in our process. Okay, so I just want to reiterate that I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of the e-bike folks, and we're friends, and we talk about it, and I'm supportive of their position in the final makeup. But I just think it's, and I want to commend Director Biden for just kind of looking at this in a more holistic way, and in a way that is honors all the work that we've done up to this point, and I think we've done it the right way. I think, and we're going to continue to do it the right way. And so not opposed at all to e-bikes, not opposed to bikes, not opposed to people walking, not opposed to horseback riding, kites flying, drinking moonshine, up to whatever. But I really think it's important for us to, let the process work out, and let this committee that we're setting up have a role in actually codifying this stuff. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, down on the other side of the table.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I hear what Director Biden is saying loud and clear, and while I want to thank staff in the Park and Rec Committee for hashing out what we have here, I think it's incomplete and not quite ready for prime time. I too want to also let the community know that I'm 100% in support of e-bikes being able to access the forest. I think the people that have come and spoke and testified in front of our board are not, and I know they're not my concern for this at all whatsoever. It's the people that aren't here, the people that we're not getting a chance to talk to, the people that are not, haven't participated up to this point, that I have concerns about. I read on a regular basis what happens on the Hammond Trail with bikes, with e-bikes on the Hammond Trail, and that's different because it's on a paved trail, but it's community where we're mixing pedestrians, bicyclists, e-bike riders, and equestrian all on the same trail. So that part of it, I think, is applicable. What we have right here, while I very much appreciate that bicycles yield to equestrians and pedestrians yield to equestrian, let's see, bicycles yield to, anyway, the way that that's written, I appreciate that part of it, but I honestly don't think that's enough to give our staff the authority that they need. And I would like to turn this back to staff and say, are we prepared to be able to, at this point in time, to deal with this the way it's written? And is there enough here to enforce if we start getting complaints from the community about behaviors, not just from the e-bikes, but from anything going on the trails? So I'm very reticent. I was very much on the fence about this coming into this meeting, and after hearing statements from Director Mayo and Director Beitman, and wanting and inviting statements from the community before I make my decision, I'm starting to sway more towards not wanting to approve this at this point in time. But I would like to still hear from the community. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any comment, Director Capture?
Well, yeah, I guess kind of my comment is after going for a few walks up there, I don't feel that the breaking down electric bikes, to me, that the problem up there is the terrain, and nobody's going to be going super fast on an electric bike just because it's not well enough developed. And so my other part of the thing was some of this was, I think, part of complying with the initial grant to get money to buy the property. So I'm kind of concerned how the impacts of this, you could mention that. So those are kind of my two issues for continuing to this.
Okay, thank you. Well, my opinion on this is that it's been well known, it's been around McKinleyville. I'm certain that Director Beitman, when he encountered the people that said that they'd never used the forest, if those silent bicycles were up there, were told that if they have any concerns to come either the Park and Rec Committee or the full Board of Directors meeting in this room on the appropriate day, and we've had no one do that. I think it would be prudent for us to go along and follow what the Park and Rec Committee voted to do, to recommend to the board for us to do as they put forward the first reading of this amended regulation. I also feel strongly that our regulations should mirror as close as possible known regulations that are already in use at the Arcata Community Forest and on our Arcata Ridge Trail. That way there would be no confusion as to the difference in rules between the two recreational areas. And so I plan on supporting this. Is there any other discussion from the board? Any comments from the staff?
Yes, I'll jump in. So a couple comments. With regards to the grant requirements, the grant explicitly says you cannot have motorized vehicles. it also explicitly allows electrical bikes. So as written, this would not endanger at all. Wanted to add to that, like President Binder just mentioned, this has been out there. We have not heard, people haven't been coming to staff saying, hey, we don't want electric bikes, or we're concerned about, you know, horses up there with electric bikes or anything like that. So we have not been getting that pushback. I do want to remind the board as well that the intent of this edit to the ordinance is to try to get us over the hump of the initial ordinance to the formation of the full Community Forest Committee, and have the full Community Forest Committee look at not only this, but all aspects of ordinances. So as we are changing the ordinance that was passed and read the second time last month, this absolutely is intended to go back to the full Community Forest Committee, and they can change it with additional input from the community, however they want, or leave it the same. So this is kind of to get us through the next 6 to 12 months until the Community Forest Committee, you know, fully establishes and fully vets this, and not prevent the use of electric bikes up there in the interim. Leslie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I have a question for Pat.
Go ahead, Dennis.
I'm a little confused. What do you mean by get us over the hump? Can you that a little more for me?
Well, so I think you and Director Whiteman are exactly correct. You know, the intent has always been to establish the Community Forest Committee, and then they develop the ordinances and rules and regs and the forest management plan, the trails plan, with input from the community. We are, as you know, we are currently accepting applications from the community for the committee. Due date for those is May 10th here, so in a couple of weeks. We'll bring it back to the June board meeting to have the board approve the committee. So then we'll hopefully have the full committee up and running June, July at the latest. So they can start, you know, the first order of business for them could be, hey folks, what do you think about this change in use of e-bikes? Can you guys reach out to the community and solicit input on this? And do we need to make any changes here? I suspect, and I know they're gonna have their plate full with a lot of things. So it's, when I say get over the hump, I don't think they're gonna be making any decisions in July. But maybe by October, December, they can be making these decisions and then bring it back to the board and say, no, we think what you guys have written is good, or no, we've really been out talking to the horse people or whoever, and they say, no, we absolutely don't want electric bikes, so we should change this ordinance.
Okay, so I understand that, but I'm still confused on, does this e-bike draft change that staff has, is that in itself necessary for getting the committee going? No, it's to help the committee with time and et cetera, having something already for them to look at.
Right, so
yeah, okay.
Right now, the ordinance as adopted by this board will allow electric bikes.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you. That was the kind of confusion I had in my thought. All right, thanks.
So a few things. Process. I believe in process. The acquisition of this forest and the necessity to develop some rules, some kind of rules for the forest, given that it was open to the public the day after we acquired it, hindered our ability to have a public process around creating rules and regulations. I, as staff, was like, we need to put signs up. The signs need to have rules on them. Our rules and regs had no rules for the community forest. So rules were drafted by people who are not cyclists. So, and then now now things have happened, and here we are. We have people who are passionate about their sport. They are also doing trail labor and creating trails and providing the labor at their own cost for these trails, and have committed to also maintaining the trails that they create in perpetuity. So I want to call that out, because that is a benefit to us, particularly at this new time, this very beginning time in the development of the forest. So I believe in process, and the process was thwarted very, very early, and we can't get it, like there's time there. We have, the rules and regulations are always subject to revision, and so we do have a mechanism for revising the rules as we get more information and more input. Secondly, enforcement is an issue throughout our entire park system. We can't even get people to keep their dogs on a leash on the trails around the treatment plant. It's just, and so.
Christine Oldman come visit.
And we are not, no staff in our district are law enforcement folks. So our staff do their best to inform people of the rules, but they really they don't have authority to issue tickets, fines, or anything like that. And so enforcement is a thing that this committee is going to have to somehow define and find a solution for. Thirdly, as an athletic person once in my life, I know people who are passionate about their sport and who are out doing it. They are really good at regulating the behavior because they want to keep doing it. And so I believe in the mountain biking community when they say, like, if we're out biking and somebody's behaving badly, like, we're going to say something, because that one person will ruin it for everybody else if it becomes problematic. That's how it kind of works in my experience. So I just want to offer those things, and I really do, from a staff perspective, want to encourage the board to pass the language of the ordinance, because I really believe that the people out there biking right now are respectful and really want to preserve the use of that, and also want to contribute to the development in a very conscientious and sustainable way. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from staff?
I'd like to address this Wilson matter. Listen, at this point, are you convinced that the public input necessary to adopt this ordinance has been obtained, and that it is fully representative of the community as a whole? And number two question is, do you believe, and I realize this is a balanced issue and not a black and white issue, do you believe that this action is setting a starting point that will be positive, supportive of the work of the committee, and not be seen as preemptive of their work as they start? Those are my two concerns, and at this point, I need assurance.
I think that these rules have been publicly posted numerous times, and the only people who've shown up to talk are the mountain biking people. Do I think that there's been adequate public input? No. But I do think that there's been opportunity. There's been at least 4 different opportunities for other communities to voice their opinions in a public forum. and they haven't shown up. Your second question.
Listen, you'll forgive me, but I question the assumption that silence is absent.
I don't think it's necessarily silence is an agreement. However, as a public entity where our decisions are made in public, it is, you can't make decisions if people are not speaking up. If you can't make decisions based on the silence, in my opinion. And again, I think that the rules and regulations are not set in stone. They are always subject to revision. And so once we have a committee of people who can develop a mechanism for collecting public input, and we get more of those voices over time, then we can improve these rules so they best serve the entire community. I still am not getting your second question, I can't remember.
The second part was the setting for the beginning of the work of the committee. And is that, in your opinion, I'm asking your opinion, I'm asking a question of fact, in your opinion, is this change in the ordinance conducive to setting a solid beginning point for the work of the committee, or is it preemptive of the work of the committee?
I do think it's a little preemptive, but I also think that preemptiveness was born out of necessity to have something codified in our rules and regulations in a very short period of time. I do not necessarily think it's a hindrance to the work of the committee, because I think the committee is still capable and will have to do public outreach because there's more rules that will need to be made and other issues. And so I think I don't think it will get in the way of that process, and it won't get in the way of changes if those changes are deemed the best fit for the forest.
I'd like to pick on one small part in terms of envisioning a change. I brought this to the proprietor of one of the bicycle stores, who has a pretty substantial business of e-bikes. And she and a few others in the biking community expressed surprise that the throttle-controlled Class 2 bikes, not the pedal assist bikes, but the Class 2 throttle-controlled, which are an electric motor with a throttle, were going to be permitted. They could see and they would support the idea of a Class 1, which is a pedal assist. But the notion of a motor-driven bicycle with a throttle control, they weren't so comfortable with that. If the committee, now that if this is passed, if both Type 1 and Type 2 bikes are acceptable or permitted, if the committee then comes up against, we don't think that Type 2s are really appropriate. In your opinion, will the committee be able to, without undue duress, say, okay, Type 1s are okay, but Type 2s are not? Or will they find themselves in a position that can lock into Type 1 and Type 2?
I don't think that there will be a position of lockdown. I think enforcement is always going to be the issue. And that'll be the issue with the 1 and 2s allowed. There will, people will ride Class 3s up there, and enforcement will be the bigger issue. Those are just my personal opinions.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I pressed you a little hard on this, but these are the concerns that are coming to me, and I feel here that's important, and I listen to those concerns, and at least satisfy myself, if not anybody else, with what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to add a couple of comments, is that, when you say you haven't heard anything, and I understand those, I've been blessed or cursed, I don't know what it is, to have been on a lot of pretty important committees. And I have found that once that committee process starts, you start getting more input than you ever thought, things that you didn't hear. And that's part of what that committee does. So yeah, that's just been my experience, a lot of experience at that. And there's a lot of people who may not want to walk up here and talk in the thing, but might know Director Biteman and speak to him, or know you and speak to you, but would feel much more comfortable in the committee or talking to the committee member. So having said that, that's just a kind of a fact in my mind, whatever, I don't know it's true. But I'm thinking about perhaps a little friendly amendment to the motion, which to most of us will seem redundant, that perhaps we could amend the motion slightly or put an addition to it to say that this policy is that we've come up with here now is consistent with other local trail policies, but that policy can be amended by the committee and or the public, bringing it to the board for a vote of the board for changes if necessary. And like I said, that's redundant to all of us, we know that, but that might be a helpful bit of easing in the deal. And I'm not sold on that or anything, I'm just throwing that out as a friendly thought process for making the thing work. So
I think that would be amending the motion. That would be explaining after the fact the reasoning of what we have.
Either way, I don't.
Either way, I don't think.
And I'm not saying that's absolutely necessary. I'm just adding that as maybe a way of clarifying the concern that Jim has for other, Director Biteman has for other community members that may feel like we're slighting their concerns.
I just want to point out, there is no motion on the table right now, so there's no amending a motion, because there is no motion. But if you want to make that as part of the motion.
President Bender, can we hear from the community, please?
Yes, Director. May we hear from the community, please?
Hi, Kevin Creed, just a few quick points. First, thanks to Park for the work of bringing the amendment here. There is a process. That's how the amendment got here. There was participation from the cycling company here at the Park meeting. So there is a process that this is followed. Two, it's an equal opportunity process. So some people, some of the park users, may find it easier to complain to a board member, to somebody else. My opinion, it doesn't concern them enough for them to show up here or on Zoom or submit written comment. So I think that says a lot about their absence, whether they want to come speak for, against it, or bring up any other issue. There's a conspicuous absence of that. Lastly, I think this amendment, I encourage the board to adopt it. I think it's a great bridge to hand to the Forest Committee and let them start. Thank you.
My name's Lyle, I live in McKinneyville. I know this guy. He gave me his number, that was a big mistake, huh? Don't quote me on it, but Visual Concepts, I believe, is gonna donate the signage for the park here. He's he rides e-bikes and regular bikes. I think there is still a community misconception on what an e-bike is, and I don't blame you. I've ridden down Hammond Trail plenty of times on either or, getting passed up by these electric bikes. Those higher speed electric bikes aren't really what we're amending here, right? There's electric bikes that even my coworkers didn't know what the difference was. There's electric motorcycles, which aren't permitted, that do like 75 miles an hour. And so I think overall that is the issue when you watch the news and stuff, and you see e-bike this and e-bike that. But currently under state law, as I understand, this is the McKinneyville Community Forest, which means that it is owned by the state or the county, right? So the county has to abide by state law, and CHP or sheriffs cannot enforce a class 1 or class 2 or even class 3 electric bikes on mountain biking trails. And yeah, there's going to be a hurdle with getting the signs up on the correct trails, but once the mountain biking trails are built, you're not going to have, with signs or no signs, you're not going to have people walking down these trails because they're, 30% grade with jumps. A lot of it's going to be, self-explanatory until we do get the signs up. And we have an amazing team, and like she pointed out, Jeff, there's all these, relevant people that own businesses here that are donating their time and efforts into building these trails because they are, super passionate about it. And, it's coming down to the fact that there's going to be 2 users out there, ones who obey the rules that are going to go elsewhere, and others that aren't going to care. Right now, motorcycles out there are kind of running rampant, and they're a little bit stressed out that they're, going to be a little bit more regulated. But at the point in time, not only do you not have enforcement, the enforcement you're worried about can't be enforced because it's current state law. So, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Sean Fife, spoken here multiple times on this subject, and we've all participated in the process and brought employees from Arcadia Community Forest to speak about their successes with their policy, so we wouldn't have to repeat the wheel here. This is pretty uncomfortable for a lot of mountain bikers that have been speaking and coming up and touching this button and talking in public and participating in the process. We don't have a direct line to some of the board members like the people who are conspicuously absent during the process and that have been giving public comment. We also have other things to do, like these equestrians who are getting some type of privileged treatment if they, or hikers or anybody else who has concerns. They can come and speak, and they can present policy as well. This is hard. This is hard for us. We would prefer to speak directly to a board member. We don't have that privilege. So we're the public. We're participating in the process. We hope that all the good information we provided will be taken into account. Thank you, Pat, Leslie, President Bender, for paying attention to all the relevant facts. And I think we've presented everything that's necessary for starting to adopt policy that is going to be successful. And we will continue to contribute if we need to make additional changes. And we want the entire public, everybody that uses these trails to participate. But I mean, as far as I know, this is the process. If there is a different way, then let us know. Then we won't go through this anymore. I'm pretty sure this is how it's supposed to happen. Is that we come and speak him. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak from members of the public?
When we get back, I would like to speak, but give everybody else a chance.
Okay. Anybody else on the board? No, there's no one else on the board. Okay, I'll bring this back to the board. Director Orsini.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would just like to thank the biking community for participating in the process so far, and also for your work up in the woods. I think that needs to be recognized, that so far, not only are you putting your words forth, but you're also putting your labor forth, and I'm sure contributing out of your pocket for things too that haven't been brought up for this. So I just want to recognize that that's happening, and thank you very much for what's going on. One thing that just a kind of a administrative thing. My number's in the book. So if you look up Greg Orsini in the phone book, I have an 839 number I have had for 30 years, and I answer the phone. So if any time that there's any issue with that, call me and talk to me if you feel so inclined to share with me off the record or on the record as a board member. And most likely, if you're not a crackpot, I'll give you my cell phone number so that you can get in touch with me at any time you would like. So anyway, with that being said, this is going to be really tough because I'm still very conflicted about how to deal with this. And so I've got another question for staff, and that's related to the October to May in vehicles not being allowed in the forest. That's just cars, that's trucks and things like that, right?
Right.
So
Motorcycles and.
So EVs, electric bikes, they're not grouped into that?
Correct.
Okay. Is there, another question I have is, so with the pedal assisted bikes, when they're on the group trails, or on the trails that everybody's going to be using, they could basically pedal, and they wouldn't have to be assisted by electric if the person had the ability to be able to pedal them. If they were somehow disabled or had a disability and they needed that assist, even on that would be a different story. But the class 2 bikes, they pretty much are just throttle. There's no way that they could rely on human power when they were on those trails that are used jointly.
That's right.
Is that a correct assumption? Sure.
I can answer something.
Yeah, sure. Please, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, please.
So they're both. They have pedals and throttle.
Okay.
And what separates class 1, 2, and 3 from being motorized vehicles, according to state law, is the size of the watts. So, these motors are based off of, watts. That's how they kind of figure out that, and speed. So in order to be a motorized vehicle in California, it has to exceed over 30 miles an hour under its own power without assist. So like basically say a moped, right? A moped is obviously throttle only and can exceed over 30 miles an hour. So there's been revisions twice, you know, because the original law was in like the 60s, I believe, and, you know, they had to revise it in 2015 and 2021, I believe. And I can email some of those, you know, articles. But yeah, it comes down to overall speed, and it comes down to watts that the motors put out. So class 3, the reason why class 3 are legal is because they can only do 28 miles an hour, and the battery is 750 watts. So anything over, can't remember if it's 1200, anything over like 1200 watts and can do speeds over 30 miles an hour is where that classifies as a
motor vehicle.
As a motor vehicle, right? And I think this also started when trikes and quadricycles for paraplegics became motorized, which was kind of a new technology. Gives the ability for you know, paralyzed people and stuff to be on the trails as well. Is kind of where that started on the mountain bike trails, you know. And you know, like I say, you know, these trails at the end of the day will be designated for different uses. You know, you have your multi-use. And for instance, if I'm riding my electric bike, I can go as slow as 2 miles an hour. You know, the class 1, 2, and 3, you know, it's not like you're only going, you know, a certain speed, but, you know, in order to not be considered a class, you know, that electric vehicle or a motorized vehicle, it's under 30 miles an hour by state law. So, you know, the Cirons, that's like I think that's kind of what's been stirring up in the public eye the last couple of years. They look like mountain bikes and they kind of share some of the components, but they don't have pedals and they have, you know, big motors and big batteries, and they can do like, you know, 60 to 70 miles an hour. And even electric scooters now. There's been some electric scooters out now that'll do 65 miles an hour as well. Full suspension electric scooters with the big batteries and stuff like that, big motors. So.
Yeah, my grandson's battery-powered scooter, like the old Razors, that thing will go 25 miles an hour with no problem. I would never do it because I hurt my face when I got on it.
Yeah.
So this is back. I lost my train of thought. So my major concern is the differential in speed. That's what's going to cause the problems. I think we would be delusional if we thought that when you're going downhill on a mountain bike, you're only going to be going 20 miles an hour. You're going to be going a lot faster than that. And I think that that's appropriate because those are going to be trails that are set up specifically for the mountain bikes. And people really, if they want to walk on that trail, they're probably going to have to do it at their own, you know, peril, because those trails are going to be designed for what they're being used for, and I appreciate that because I like to do that too. My concern is more in areas where there's going to be horses, there's going to be hikers, and there's going to be bicycles all using the same trails, and the differential in speed, I think, is anybody who knows anything about accidents is what is the dangerous part. And I don't know that we've done enough with what we've got here to address that. I very much appreciate the fact that the bike trails will be the bike trails, and we want the people on, whether they're on an electric bike or whether they're on a pedal bike, mountain bike, to be able to have fun, to be able to utilize gravity, and do that. So that's kind of where I'm hung up at still, is how we share the trails in a respectful manner, and limit the ability for or kind of mitigate that differential in speed. I don't know, Pat, if you have any.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. I do want to remind the board that District Legal Counsel did review this, and that's where the definitions came out of. So that was his take on regulating that, if you will. I do want to remind the board, and it has been brought up by President Binder and others, that the one existing advisory committee that you have has recommended adoption.
Yes. Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate the fact that all the minutiae and all the different regulations that could have been brought up will be rehashed out in the Community Forest Committee once it is formed next month. Is there any other comment from the board?
One quick, so also what Director Orsini mentioned, contact, but all of you guys there can get a hold of your partner there. He comes to my house once a week and does a necessary maintenance job for me, so he's not shy about telling me what he thinks.
Okay. Well, I'm also not hard to access. You can find me up in the Community Forest just about every day but Saturday when I'm staying out of your guys' way. Okay, so, and I'm in the book as well. Is there any other comment from the board or staff? Or the public? Before I call for motion.
Before you call for it, I want to say thank you to the people from the biking community who've come here in a very forthright manner with which you're approaching this. The clear and obvious tone, accepting the responsibility, that means a lot. That goes a long way for us. As I hope I've made clear, my concern is not with the quality of the biking community, nor is it with the technology that's involved in the equipment that is used. Rather, it's with the process that we're following. And with the appointment of the committee imminent and the high likelihood of that the regulations, including e-bike regulations, will be very early on their agenda. I can't say that I'm totally one way or another because I absolutely respect the people and the staff who have worked this through. And as the general manager points out, this at this point is our committee. We don't have another committee. And so therefore, this committee has worked it through. That's at the present day and present time. That is our process. Without being critical as to how much input or who had what to say or whatever. And my other concern is setting a foundation for the committee and its work when it's formed and when people start to work. And there my concern is if somebody joins that committee and they volunteers coming from the community, that they come in with the idea that they have the authority to do what the committee has to do, and that they will not be preempted in their work by staff members, board members, or anybody else. And some of the problems, obviously, that they will have to wrestle with are going to be really tough. They're going to be really thorny. They're going to be an overall plan for the property, and that's going to be extremely time to work out. And I know he's one person I suggested, and she's I think she's one of the applicants. And I know that she would take her responsibility very, very seriously. But on the other hand, she wanted to know that this committee that she's joining does have the authority to do the work that is being called to do. And those are my concerns. I think they're being heard. I don't think that I'm shouting in the wind. I think that all of this is being taken very seriously. And I want to thank everybody for their support in this, especially for those people in the biking community. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Biden. Okay, we'll move on to call for a motion to approve.
I will move that we approve the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Can you repeat your motion?
Sorry. I will make a motion that we approve ordinance 2024-02, amending regulations 47 pertaining to the use guidelines of the McKinleyville Community Forest.
Okay, thank you, Director Couch. Is there a second? Here, no second. This item fails. Okay, moving on to item E5. Consider adoption of resolution 2024-12, designating Samantha Howard as the MCSD Board Treasurer and adding her as an authorized agent for Umpqua Bank and other agencies, banks, or financial institutions as may be required. This item is presented by Pat Gaspari, our General Manager.
Thank you, President Binder. After an extensive search and several rounds of interviews, including by the Finance and Audit Committee, the district is very happy to welcome Samantha Howard as the new Finance Director. Samantha was born and raised in Humboldt County and has roots going back to generations in northern Humboldt. She has a BS in Business Administration and is currently working on her Master's in Business Administration and her Certified Public Accounting license, which she expects to have by 2025. She comes to us from Tri-Counties Banks, where she has been a branch manager since 2019, after starting as the assistant branch manager in 2018. Prior to that, she worked at Coast Central starting in 2013. Samantha came into the interviews as the most prepared candidate and is quickly getting up to speed on the district's finances and operations. To quote her cover letter, "I love the McKinleyville community and I look forward to being a part of the organization that makes it a wonderful place to raise my family." Transition to a new finance director, there are several updates to authorizations that need to occur. The purpose of resolution 2024-12 is to have a board-approved resolution that formally approves Ms. Howard as the finance director, the board treasurer, and signatory for various financial institutions and organizations as required. The board policy manual rule 3.1 designates the finance director as the board treasurer. Business with the Humboldt County Auditor, Controller's Office, and other departments frequently requires formal designation of this person, which this resolution accomplishes. The district also has on file with Umpqua Bank all those parties that are approved as signers for the transactions of district business. The bank requires formal approval of these signatories by the board. We would like to confirm that the approved signers are listed as General Manager Patrick Gaspari, Finance Director Samantha Howard, HR Payroll Manager Diane Sloan, Operations Director James Henry, and Parks and Rec Director Leslie Frisbee. We will need to forward a copy of this board agenda item in the minutes of that action to Umpqua Bank for them to prepare a revised signatory card. This change would be applicable to the checking and money market accounts with Umpqua Bank. There are numerous other financial institutes that Ms. Howard will also be registered as an authorized signatory for, including California Class, SDRMA, Aqua, CalPERS, Lake, and the Social Security Administration. The intent of this resolution is also to approve her as an authorized agent for financial business related to the operations of the McKinleyville Community Services District. So staff recommends that the Board of Directors review the attached information, take public comment, and approve resolution 2024-12 designating Samantha Howard as the board treasurer and as an authorized signatory and agent for Umpqua Bank, Humboldt County, and other federal and state agencies, banks, and other financial institutes as necessary to conduct the business of the McKinleyville Community Services District.
Okay, thank you, Pat. We'll bring it back to the board for comment. Anyone have any comment here? Comment from staff?
No comment.
Comment from general public? We have one person on Zoom and the room is empty. I'll call for a motion to approve, to adopt this resolution.
I'm sorry, I forgot I did one. I wanted to say thank you and welcome. One of the things, as a PERS retiree, I'll tell you, the more years you can get into PERS, the better it is. So you're reasonably young, so you know you got a chance to do a good thing working for the district. So
Thank
I hope you have a good
That could be
career.
construed as age isn't statement.
Well, I don't care. To be honest. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the same vein, welcome to the district. We're glad to have you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Samantha.
Yeah, welcome Samantha. Glad to see your face here at the board meetings, and looking forward to being able to work with you on the audit committee and the finance committee, those other things. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now I'll call. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, Joey, please call the roll.
President Bitter,
Yes.
Director Biden,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mann,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes. We take a brief break.
Yes. Okay, we're going to recess for 5 minutes.
Oh, we don't need that long.
Okay.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Take a break. We need some discussion for that last time. Yeah.
We are ready to resume. I'll call the meeting back to order. We'll move on to item E6, Local Area Agency Formation Commission Official Ballot Selection. This item will be presented by Joey White, our Board Secretary.
Thank you, President Bender. The term of one of the special district members on LAFCO expires on June 30th, 2024. The process of electing a member for the next term, which will begin July 1st, 2024, and end June 30th, 2028, is detailed in Attachment 1. There are 2 candidates for regular member, one being MCSD Director David Couch. Staff recommends that the board review information provided, take public comment, and choose one of the listed candidates to fill the term beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2028, as a regular special district member of the Humboldt LAFCO.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any board comments regarding this official ballot selection? Other than thank you for your willingness to serve, Director Couch.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for your willingness to serve. I think that David would do a fine job. I know that Heidi's going to be, she's probably going to have a lot of support on this also, but barring any other comment or considering any other comment from the board and staff, I would like to nominate, or I would like to make a motion that we select David Couch for this position. No, I don't think so.
John Lee, isn't that a conflict of this? I don't think so.
Okay. Are you gonna make any money off of this?
Yeah, financial.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I think they pay you 13 cents a mile.
You have to share if you do.
Or at least bring cupcakes. Any other comments from the board?
And no microdose cupcakes, so we want the full dose.
Yeah. Any comments from staff?
No. Have you received a second?
Not yet. I haven't called for a motion yet.
Oh my God.
Are there any other comments from the general public? We have one member on Zoom. Hearing no comment, I'll call for a motion.
I already did.
Yeah, so Greg moved.
Okay, well, I didn't officially ask for it. Now he moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Joey, would you please call the roll?
We don't need those stinking badges around here.
President Bender,
Yes.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Bam,
Yes.
Director Racine.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your willingness to serve once again. Okay, item E7, fiscal year 23-24 general fund and Measure B budget review and potential amendment. This item is to be presented by Samantha Howard, our new finance director.
District procedures state that a formal revision is required when a major line item or category of the budget deviates by more than 10% from the original budget estimate. The water, sewer, and street lighting budget do not project a deviation of more than 10% by the end of the fiscal year. Budget line items that deviate more than 10% are highlighted in yellow on attachment 1 and are described below. For the Parks General Fund, facility fees revenue is significantly higher than originally projected and has been adjusted to reflect that. Contributions and other program revenues are projected to be slightly higher than anticipated based on year-to-date contributions. Other revenue has been reduced due to a calculation error found in the original projects. As construction of the BMX track and park project did not start as early as anticipated, grant revenues have been reduced to coincide with the actual reimbursed expenses for this fiscal year. Interest revenue is significantly higher than anticipated due to unforeseen interest revenue from the Cal Class account. Expense projection adjustments in the general fund have been made to administrative expenses, including salaries and benefits. This adjustment is due to additional staff time being contributed to the Measure B increase campaign, as well as expenses related to engineering fees, legal fees, consultant fees, and additional bulk mailings involved with the Measure B increase campaign. Capital expenditures and interest expense has been adjusted to reflect the reduced expenses experienced this fiscal year related to grant-funded projects. The overall Parks General Fund budget is now anticipated to run a deficit in fiscal year 2023-2024 of $70,033. Staff does not believe that this has impacted Parks and Rec programs or required maintenance or upkeep of facilities, and can largely be traced to under budgeting of the actual costs related to the passage of Measure B. In the Measure B fund, salaries and benefits have been adjusted to reflect required maintenance for Hiller Sports Complex and the library. Based on current expenditure trends, this budget is anticipated to run a deficit in fiscal year 2023-24 by $12,217.35. Questions from the directors on any category items or on the budget overall are welcome. Staff recommends that the budget review proposed revisions to the fiscal year 2023-24 Parks General Fund budget and the Measure B fund, discuss, take public comment, and approve the proposed revised budget for fiscal year 2023-24.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure that there is going to be some board comment, including some clarification on some items. And who would like to start?
I will. Thank you for taking the time, Leslie and Samantha, and I'm sure Colleen worked on this, so thank you, and Pat, I don't want to leave Pat out too, and James, I'll just thank you, even though you probably have anything to do with it. For this, but anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to go through this and get us back in compliance with our budgeting rules for being anything over 10%, to modify that. It was nice to see the facilities that we were over budget, and the revenue side is always a good thing when we're over budget, and to see that our facility fees were $30,000 over is very nice. Also, I'd like to CSDA's horn and ours for being savvy enough to go with Cal class and in those the interest that we gathered, $200,000, that's pretty awesome that we're able to bring that kind of money in. That's why it's important that we keep our reserves as high as we possibly can, invest that money in those wise sort of investments, and create a revenue source that really doesn't take any work at all, other than just letting it ride. So I think that's why it's always important to maintain as much reserves as we possibly can, and then invest it wisely. Now, on the expenditure side for the general fund, my major question was related to salaries and benefits for admin, and I noticed that we had to make a budget modification of almost $190,000, and I was hoping to get a little bit of clarification on that particular line item.
Yes, so the significant difference there can be primarily explained by the severance pay for our past finance director, my predecessor, and also we're paying a salary to the interim finance director, Colleen. Additionally, the Measure B reauthorization that took place in late 2023 required much more staff time than originally anticipated, including time directly charged to this GL line item by the general manager. Did you have anything to add to that, Leslie?
Also bad guessing on my part in terms of other Parks and Rec staff allocations to administrative line item. It's always a guess. And so one of the things that also happened this year is our Parks and Rec maintenance supervisor had to recertify his playground safety certification. So his time spent taking the class and studying and passing that test is admin time, and I failed to project that in the budget at the time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I after we had this conversation, I think I left you a voicemail to the light kind of went off on the past finance director in the severance package, that probably had quite a bit of impact on that. And then also understanding that Pat usually has, their general manager, Kaspari, usually has a percentage of his wage attributed to the Parks and Rec. But if he was working on a specific project and he was using that job number, it would then shift that percentage over to that, and so but it makes perfect sense now. I'm very satisfied with the explanation that we had on that. And then on the salaries and maintenance benefits for or salary benefits for maintenance was about 23,000 under budget. That's I don't need an explanation on that. So thank you very much. I very much appreciate it.
Any other comments from the board?
Just one thing. Number one, thank you for that we have an expression to hit the ground running. This is a very fine report and detailed and breaks things out. It's easy to understand what the difference is.
Leslie did it, I'm just reading it.
You did
Thank you, Bill.
You did that. I want to echo a comment the director of CD made, which is looking at the interest revenue and the earnings from California. One of the concerns that we have as we authorize the finance committee reviewing the investments of the reserves was that the category of other post-employment benefits. I would say looked like it could be troublesome, but it was enough to command our interest. And the shift of the investments to CalClass was, in our thinking, the answer to the concerns that we had that the income from the investments might at some point be insufficient to cover the obligations of that particular obligation of the other post-employment benefits, which is a big number that you want to appreciate. So I'm pleased to see, as director of CDs, I'm pleased to see that number is much larger. Hopefully that reflects the improvement in the quality of the investments. That's just a comment. So, thank you.
Great interest environment right now.
There's your own comments from the board. Comments from staff? Okay, we'll call for a motion to approve this budget review and potential amendments.
I'll move to approve the item.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Joey, please.
President Bitter,
Yes.
Director Biden,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Bam,
Yes.
Director Racine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Item E8, review operations draft budget for water, wastewater, and streetlight funds, fiscal year 24-25, presented by Samantha Howard, Finance Director.
The budget was developed based on current costs, trends, and best estimates. Staff has developed a revised projection of water and wastewater sales based on current consumption trends rather than the most recent rate study. For the water fund, grant revenue under other revenue will continue to remain higher than normal due to the capital projects listed under the capital improvement plan. Where last year there was a deficit in the streetlight fund, this year there are not as many capital projects, therefore there is no deficit this year. In the streetlight fund, there is a proposed 42.1% increase in other expenditures. This increase is due to an increase in legal fees increased insurance premiums, and other inflation-related increases. Questions from the directors on any category item or on the budget overall are welcome. The finalized budget will be presented to the board for formal approval in June. Staff recommends that the board review, take public comment, and discuss the fiscal year 2024-25 draft operating budget for the water, wastewater, and streetlight funds.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments from the board?
I'll start down here again. Yes, staff, Judge James, this time I'm being sincere. Thank you very much for your work on this, and I know, having done this and watched you learn how to do this, that this is not an easy thing to do. Keeping your crystal ball polished up is always a tough job when you're trying to forecast what it's going to cost you through the year. So thank you very much for presenting a balanced and very thoughtful budget for us to consider.
Any other comment from the board?
I just wanted us to get on and echo the thanks and appreciation for your time.
Thank you. Any comment from staff? Comment from the general public? There's one member on Zoom. Hearing none, we'll move along. Thank you very much. Item E9, consider approval of resolution 2024-13 to pursue grant funding from the Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. So that will be presented by Patrick Sparley, our General Manager.
Thank you, President Bender. The mission of the CAL FIRE Urban and Community Forestry Program is to advance the development of sustainable and accessible urban and community forests in California. In 2023, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Forest Service Urban and Community Forest Program awarded $1.5 billion to states, projects, and national initiatives that support urban communities in ensuring equitable access to trees and their benefits via the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. The intent is to foster an increase in equitable access to urban tree canopy and associated human health, environmental, and economic benefits in disadvantaged communities, broaden community engagement in local urban forest planning, tree planting, and management activities, and improve community and urban forest resilience to climate change, extreme heat, forest pests and disease, and storm events through best management and maintenance practices. Applications for this grant are due May 30th, 2024, and the work needs to be completed by March 2028. There is no cost share or matching requirements for benefits to disadvantaged or low-income communities. Grant applications must be between $150,000 and $1.5 million. The district will likely submit an application for urban forest management activities, which consist of projects for improving long-term management of urban forests to improve urban forest performance over time. Projects may involve the establishment or updating of jurisdiction-wide tree inventory, urban forest mapping and analysis, and/or long-term management plan. Urban forest management plan projects must include policy integration and ordinance development, and an early action tree planting component is recommended. The district may also submit a second application for urban forest expansion and improvement projects, which consist of urban tree planting, maintenance, and associated vegetation to provide multiple benefits to trees, and plant establishment care and planting site preparation. The management activity grant application would likely be for approximately $500,000 and would focus on hiring professional consultants to help prepare the community forest management plan and the trails plan. An expansion and improvement grant application would likely be for $150,000 and would be for purchasing and planting redwood and other applicable trees in the community forest. Full grant application is at that URL. So staff recommends that the board review this information, discuss, take public comment, and approve resolution 2024-13, authorizing the general manager to act as the authorized agent and submit a grant application to CAL FIRE as part of the California Urban and Community Forest Inflation Reduction Act to seek funding for the planning and implementation of projects within the McKinleyville Community Forest.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, thanks for bringing this to us, Pat. I think this is a great grant. Hopefully, with our staff as skilled as they are at doing grant applications, that we can reap some benefits from this grant and pull down some money. I know it's no secret how important it is to me that we start planting trees up there, because that's going to be it's going to be our ability to be able to sustain this community forest and make it so that it's not a drain on the community and not a drain on MCSD, and so, you know, I'm very much looking forward to that part of that. That's the part of this grant that really excites me is us getting trees in the ground. And when it comes time to start putting trees in the ground, I definitely will volunteer to go out there and put trees in. I doubt I'll ever get to see the trees harvested, but I definitely will be very comfortable in the fact that they're out there growing. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I know we've got only a month to get it done, and get all our ducks in a row for it. So thank you to staff for stepping up and taking the lead on this.
Okay, are any other board comments?
I just want to concur with everything Director Orsini said. Thank you.
Well, I tried to comment too. Besides, you're visiting for us. I kind of see a need for not only tree planting, but there's a lot of need for debris control out there. And I'd like to see that addressed at some point in the future. Just other splash piles need to be burned.
Yep, there's a lot of things that need to be done.
Yeah, good luck on getting burning them slash piles, as they'd be gone already.
And some of those actually are on very down in open space.
Okay. Yeah, I too would concur with all that was said. I do appreciate the diligence of our staff and the general manager for keeping their ear to the ground for opportunities such as this, and then putting them in motion so that we all can benefit from them. Director Feynman, do you have anything to add?
If I'll just say, I don't know how much work it takes to prepare the application for this grant, or how much is going to be involved, but its importance is obvious. And as I say, I'm so grateful that our staff put their heart into this, because it's obviously going to make a huge difference in the success of the whole community project. So, thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments from the board? Comments from staff? Comments from the general public? I'll call for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Joy, would you please call the roll?
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Biden.
Yes.
Director Couch.
Yes.
Director Mayo.
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item E10, consider adoption of resolution 2024-14, nominating Gregory Orsini to the CSDA Board of Directors, Seat A, in the Northern Network. This item is presented by Joey Blaine.
Thank you, President Bender. On February 8, 2024, General Manager Gaspari received a letter, attachment 1, from the Election and Bylaws Committee from the California Special Districts Association calling for nominations of independent special district board members or general managers who are interested in leading the direction of CSDA for the 2025 to 2027 term. Nominees must be affiliated with an independent special district, a CSDA regular member, and located in the geographical network, attachment 2, that they represent. Board Director Gregory Orsini qualifies as a candidate and has expressed interest in this governing seat. The commitment of this position would consist of 4 to 5 annual meetings, usually held in Sacramento, participating in at least one committee, which also meets 3 to 5 times a year, usually in Sacramento, attend specific CSDA annual events, and complete the Special District Leadership Academy within 2 years, which Director Orsini already has. Candidate nominations must be received in the form of a resolution or minute motion. Electronic voting will take place June 10th through July 26, 2024. Successful candidates will be notified no later than July 30th, 2024, and will be introduced at the annual conference in Indian Wells, California in September 2024. Staff recommends the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and adopt resolution 2024-14 nominating Director Gregory Orsini to the CSDA Board of Directors, Seat A, Northern Network, attachment 4.
Okay, thank you, Joey. Are there any board comments?
Well, I want to start out by subject to board discussion and public comment. I would definitely be very happy to move this motion to approve Director Orsini.
Anyone else on the board wish to make a comment? Other than to say thank you for your willingness to serve once again. Comment from staff?
Is this just a continuation of what you're doing?
Yeah, no, it's the same seat I'm serving right now. It would just be continuing, I'm the incumbent for that seat, and I'm running unopposed, so this is just basically a formality that they need to have this done.
Okay. Comment from staff? Comments from the public? Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Joey, would you please call the roll?
President Binder?
Yes.
Director Biden?
Yes.
Director Couch?
Yes.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
Okay, thanks once again for your willingness to serve. Okay, we have reports, active committee reports. Park and Rec Committee, that would be me. And I have nothing to add to Director Frisbee's report. B, Area Fund, John Colstead, Director Bender, and that would be me. Let me find my page. Okay, we did meet. We had approximately, let me find my place here. Everybody do this, okay. We had roughly 7 to 8 applicants. I think that there were actually 8 applicants that for this grant fund cycle that made applications in the McClinville Area Fund. And they requested roughly $20,000 in change in grants. And every single one of the grant was found to have merit. The grant applications were voted en bloc to be accepted and funded. So everybody who put in an application got what they requested. So
What was the average per request, Scott? Do you happen to know?
they ran anywhere from, I believe, $800 up to $6,000. I wish I would have brought more material on this. Okay. Okay, moving along. REDEC, that would be Director Biden.
Presents an apology. I became confused as to the date of the meeting, and I missed the meeting. I thought it was the last Monday of the month. Turns out it's the 4th Monday of the month. And there are 5 Mondays in this month, and last month, so I was absent in the meeting. I apologize.
Okay, thank you for your report. More lack thereof. Okay, McKinneyville Senior Center, that would be me once again. Final place. Okay, well, we're doing what we just do. And that's just sharing and caring and helping others. Let me see, we're planning our Pony Express Days open house, bake sale and rummage sale, just like we've done every year for the last many decades. And so we've got some new volunteers, and some of our older volunteers have stepped back. And so it's always different, but it's always fun. We're looking forward to participating in that fashion there. Okay, we did get our McKinleyville Area Fund grant approved, and we got roughly $1,400 for new furniture for our little computer lab. We're getting two nice new tables that are of an appropriate height, and also 3 ergonomic chairs that are suitable more suitable for seniors, that are completely adjustable and have lumbar support and all that. So for that, we're pretty thankful. Also, we did get the ATT grant cycled back to us by the Department of Health and Human Services and the California State Department of Aging. And I was able to secure another $1,500 worth of gift cards to incentivize our intergenerational technical intern program that we're planning on bringing the 2 high school girls that served us last summer back again this summer. We'll be able to give them a little bit of ching to put in their college funds. Right. And that's what both of them are doing. Right. Okay, I did write a little article, and it was published in the Mad River Union and the CU News regarding our durable medical equipment lending program. And Jack from the Mad River Unions reached out to me, and I guess I'll be doing a regular column for the senior center once again, since Patty Stammers hasn't done it since before COVID. So that's fun. I also spoke at Rotary, which is always fun. I always get carried away and talk too long enough, but that's okay. Anyway, that's it for the senior center.
Yeah, I'm bummed I missed that. I had other stuff going on. I really wanted to hear your program that day. But
so much I wanted to say in so little time.
What do you get, like 14 minutes or something?
I don't know. Nobody told me how long to speak. I spoke until
20. As long as it doesn't go over 20, we're usually pretty flexible about that.
I think I was between 15 and 20.
Yeah.
Okay, Audit and Finance Committee. Did not meet. Okay, Employee Negotiations Committee.
We did not meet.
You guys did not meet. Kellyville Municipal Advisory Committee. Great.
We did meet, and we don't meet on the last Wednesday of the month, we meet on the 4th Wednesday, so we have to be careful about that, about missing those meetings. Anyway, we were briefed by, our community service safety brief was done by Paul Kraft, who's CHP, and Alyssa Alvarez, who's Arcata Fire Department, and she informed us that the new chief has been selected, and a new assistant chief has been selected, and Justin McDonald, who is the current chief, is retired. We had a presentation of the WEAT people by Ted and Rose Hernandez, which is very informative. It was great to hear what Ted had to say, and I encourage you, if you ever get a chance to listen to Ted give a speech. Definitely, it's well worth listening to what Ted has to say. It definitely has a very unique aspect on the relationship between the indigenous and the settlers that came to this country. And then we also did the local road safety plan in Quickville. There's going to be So a quick build project is, there's grant funding available for a quick build, and what a quick build project basically is using ballards, non-permanent modifications, and paint on the roads to sort of fulfill a safety concern or a means of changing a road, the image of a road or the use of a road. So just so everybody's aware, the first target of the money that's available for that is going to be on Hiller Road between McKinleyville Avenue and Central Avenue, and will most likely look like, as I said, ballards, painting, and movable barriers to sort of change the way Hiller looks right now. And also one of the things that I'm going to push for is before anything's done on Central Avenue, that the same basic technique be used to give people a chance to see what if the road diet goes through on Central Avenue, that same process is basically used so that there's a chance for us to get it to vet any ideas they might have related to serious modifications to Central Avenue. And of course, during the process, I was adamant about the fact that we definitely want public input from the community before anything's done, even on Hiller Road, so that we just don't wake up one morning and the roads are all painted and there's ballards and K-rails and things like that. And then the last thing that we had was from Susan Seaman. She's the previous mayor of Eureka, so that name might sound familiar from that. And she's part of this a group called Redwood Region Rise, and it's a committee that has access to significant hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the state, and they're basically taxed with finding ways to spend those grant funds that have regional impact, which would be, for us, would be Del Norte, Humboldt, and Trinity, and Mendocino County. So to really qualify for any of those grants, it has to be beneficial to that whole area. But we're talking about tens of millions of dollars that we have access to if we can come up with a competitive idea for that, or if they can come up with a competitive idea for that. So anyway, that's about all I had for the McMack meeting. Pat, did I miss anything?
I've got a question for Greg, if you want. Greg, I'd apologize, it's been a long time since I took a look at the rough out of that. On Hiller, is the parking, you're wanting to do perpendicular parking, was that part of on Hiller?
Actually, the final, the profile that's part of the EIR and in the draft for the town center ordinance right now, there'll be no parking on Hiller whatsoever.
Oh, no, not at all?
Not at all, no, there'll be bike, there'll be, on one side of the street, there'll probably be commercial all the way up to the sidewalk, and then on the other side, of course, where it's not developed yet, will be Life Plan Humboldt, and that'll be more of a campus sort of feel.
Okay. And one of the sketches at one time had one side of the road with that perpendicular parking.
Right, yeah, that's
since you eliminate that
completely. It's been eliminated completely.
Okay.
And there'll be a substantial bike lane on one side of the road, and
for all our massive spots.
Yeah, for all the people that ride their bicycles, and sidewalks on both sides, and a single lane going west and a single lane going east, and then a planted median strip.
Okay. Any other questions for Director Orsini? Okay, item H, Community Forest Ad Hoc Committee. Yes.
We didn't actually meet, but we have done a lot of work,
We met
on.
We met on April 9th.
When? Oh, that's right, we did, yeah, we did meet for a little bit.
We talked about Rule 74, or 47.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work on, developing our asks for, legislative, funding that we need, and we spent a lot of time with that, and we talked a lot about, the project that we didn't approve tonight a little bit. We talked about that, and we'll start a conversation with a little leisure on it. But anyway, that's what my focus there in the meeting was. And if there's stuff that you want to expound on, Leslie or Pat, they're great. But
No, I think we focused mainly on Rule 47.
Okay, all right, thank you. Item F2, legislative and regulatory reports. Does anyone have anything?
I'll just reiterate again, thank you to staff and the GM and for the yeoman's effort that we put out the last couple of weeks to try to get in the queue on some of these funding opportunities that we didn't think were going to happen, but did open up with very short windows. And it was a great effort by everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate what Dennis said. We did meet 3 times with Robots, with Jaime Robots' firm, related to getting letters of recommendation and letters of reference for earmarks and for grant funding, and also coordinating with our legislators to get letters of recommendation from them related to the grants that we've got going on. So I want to thank staff and Dennis also for focusing on getting those letters of recommendation in for us to get it done. And staff worked with a very, very short time period, and I'm sure that they had to be very artful with shuffling other things that needed to be done to be able to get that done. So I just want to thank you guys for getting.
And I'll just add again something that I said, compliment Leslie in her awards and stuff, is that it is a lot of extra, and people have to step up and do extra, and everybody does, and you do it, and so I really, really appreciate that. You know, it's easy to say, oh, I got this idea, and I got that idea, hey, let's do this, and then go, can you make this happen? That ain't quite so easy. So thank you.
Okay. Okay, F3, staff reports. Finance and Administration Department, Director Trask, Director Howard. Who wants to do her?
So I do have something to add to the staff report. Really did hit the ground running last week, training with Colleen a lot, but also I kind of started with what I know, which is banking. I was able to connect with our commercial relationship manager at Umpqua, and I realized that the interest rate on our money market account that has over $3.3 million in it is earning 0.01% interest, where we're earning $37 a month on that. So in that communication with Anastasia, our relationship manager, I was able to get our interest rate increased to 2.49%. And that's going to take our monthly earnings from $37 to just a little over $7,000 per month in our money market account. It is a 90-day rolling period, so in 90 days I have it set on my calendar to reconnect with her to renegotiate that rate if necessary. In addition to that, our analysis checking account has what's called an earnings credit. That earnings credit was 0.15%. Is it calculates with our checking account balance to help offset any fees. We've been paying a little over $600 up to $800 a month on our checking account, and I renegotiated that fee to a total of 1.00%, which has brought our checking account fees down to 0. So big win for last week on that.
You pay your way.
That's just 1 week.
So that was exciting. Colleen, did you have anything to add for what we did last week?
Yeah, we burned through an awful lot of stuff last week and did a spectacular, I mean, Samantha did a really spectacular job because we used the, opportunity of working on the budget, working on the treasurer's report. It was like training and trial by fire. And she did a great job. And I will also just throw in here that Leslie did the heavy lifting on the May revised for the parks budget, and she absolutely rocked it. So, yeah, I will be back to help with year-end close because that is a really heavy lift, and I'll be on call for questions as they arise, reviews of things, process explanations. But I think this is going to work well. At least I hope so.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Operations Department, Director Henry.
I actually feel like Pat told me to say something during this time, and I can't recall. So I'm going to go with nothing further to add, and then look over at him to see if I get any looks. That is all.
Okay. Parks and Rec Department, Director Frisbee.
Dennis said what I was gonna say, so I have nothing further to add about the forest.
Thank you. General Manager Gaspard.
Yep, Dennis said what I was gonna say too, but no, I do want to remind you about the construction observation for the 4.5 million gallon tank that we are gonna do on Monday, this upcoming Monday at 10 o'clock. We're gonna actually access it from the upper part, so on Hewitt, we'll go to the gate.
So we'll meet at the gate.
Yeah. And walk down from there, so we're not walking through the construction site. And I know Director Mayo and President Binder won't be able to make it, but we will have opportunities to take a look at it again. They got the first wall poured this week, and it's pretty impressive. So, cool, it's worthwhile.
Wear a hard hat and a safety
Yeah,
vest.
so you got a hard hat and a safety vest, bring one, otherwise we'll have them for you.
You could take a couple of pics and send it to Scott and I, and we could peruse it in our relaxing time.
James has all sorts of videos and pictures on his phone. So you can just start sending things.
Okay.
This would have been a good thing for the time lapse if we had thought of that ahead of time.
I did think of that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have time lapse?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I did think of it.
Okay, Joey, did we lose Zoom or did we lose our projector?
Well, that's all kinds of interesting.
So I would suggest we take a little break because sometimes when that happens, we have to redo a whole damn meeting.
No, we just lost our projector.
No, I think it's our projector.
Yeah. Okay. I just know that twice through the last 2 years of Zoom deal, we had to redo 2 meetings. I remember those things altered in and out.
I do remember. Okay.
I just wanted to, are we done? Oh, I just wanted to say hooray on PG&E finally signing off on the microgrid part of the project. That probably goes, thanks for your dogged determination to get that done, James and Pat. But where do we stand on that as far as getting it up and running completely?
Well, so the solar has been running. We are still trying to finalize the controls for the battery portion of it. PG&E actually has not issued the PTO yet. We thought that, okay, well, we were told that, you put in the meter and then we'll issue the PTO. They kind of walked back that this week, but it seems like they are indeed actually going to issue the PTO as well. We have promises from Amoresco that it is going to be fully online by June 1st. And so we're almost there.
So now, have they trial run the software yet? There's probably, are they assured that the software is gonna be able to run the system properly, or?
Yes, and it works, everything works fine as a microgrid. If there's power actually at PG&E, everything, it'll generate electricity, charge batteries at night. When the sun goes down, the batteries will run it, etc. Those controls work just fine. If there is no power on the other side of the PG&E side and the ATS has to flip, they have not figured that out.
Oh, they haven't?
Yeah, so we're not happy.
Yeah. And they're still under contract with us because that's part of the requirement for the project, so it's part of their contract with us.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, it may not be related, but, PG&E's in front of the PUC to get this new, graduated scale of a flat-out fee for ratepayers. Are we looked into that, or?
No, we with all of our stuff, we're on different scale.
Okay, so that doesn't apply. Okay, thanks. I just curious.
And we would be precluded from that because we're buying our power from a different provider anyway, right?
Yeah, there's that, and the fact that we're generating the microgrid stuff, that kicks us into a different.
For a different tariff. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, moving along, F4, President's Report. Okay, well, I did attend the CSDA Resilience, or Special Districts Resilience Summit, which focused mainly on California clean fleets. And they sang a lot of the praises of the Los Angeles County Sanitation District and how their electric vehicle fleet is working really well. And they moved on and started talking about financing options for electric vehicles with a couple of other participants in that meeting, and that was the large majority of the meeting, other than a little bit of talk about building in wildfire resilience by the state fire marshal, who actually works for CAL FIRE. And the keynote speaker was late, so his talk was truncated. But it sounded, I didn't get too much from his talk. Okay, I did attend the monthly 2x2 meeting, and it was attended by County Aviation Director Cody Rogatz, and it was very entertaining. And I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping that they'll be able to bring that air show that he's talking about later.
Yeah, 10th and 11th of August.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to have an air show here.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the 8th Air Force Historical Society when they brought their bombers and stuff up, their historical planes.
We could just about have our own just by having Justin Savell bring all of their planes.
Okay, I did attend the April edition of the McLeanville Community Trash Bash, as did McMack member Bonnie, what's her name?
Oliver? Bonnie Oliver?
Yeah, Bonnie Oliver and her husband, and they usually attend. And I'm looking forward to going to the Aqua Spring Conference and CSGA Ledge Days later this month. And that's all I've got. So F5, board member comments, announcements, reports, and agenda item requests.
I have a potential agenda request, and Pat, you could, Chair Pat, Cuthbert, if you could weigh this, but you may or may not want to bring it back and maybe something. I'm still slightly confused about the two types of Zoom options that we have to work with. There's the old option, which is still being used and still in effect. That was from the governor's emergency order. And now there's the new one that's the legislation. And they're both a little bit different. And so perhaps if you think it's warranted, maybe you could bring that back sometime as an agenda. We could talk, an informational or something. And it doesn't have to be next month or even next, just,
Well, there's the old remote meeting that's still in effect, like they used to be back in the old days.
Yeah.
Where you have a post and it's gotta be in the agenda, and then where the remote's gonna be, where that remote person's gonna be, that has to be in the agenda, and then it's gotta be posted there. And then there's the new one, the legislative one that's post-COVID.
and it's a little different. You gotta only have to
significantly
say people over 18 in the room, and you don't have to post the agenda, but I'm not sure you don't have to have, anyway, I'm still just,
right. You can only use that one for certain things.
And then what are we using, which I think, and we're doing excellent. I mean, we're kind of, believe me, I hear it around a lot, we're kind of a model for, people are pretty impressed with how well we're doing, and really that's your bandwidth. So, anyway, just a thought. I don't know, maybe y'all got it down perfect, and if you do, fine. I don't have to know exactly what I'm doing as long as I can stumble forward.
Okay.
Ain't that right, Ogie? Yeah. Ogie's always stumble forward.
Okay, so we got. Okay, item F6, closed item discussion.
Well, wait a minute, we still have some other board, I have some stuff board stuff. So I wanted to let you guys know that I will be in Sturgis, on my way to Sturgis, or I'll be in Sturgis when we have our board meeting in August. So I will not be available for our meeting in August. I'll be leaving here around the 29th or so, and I'll be back probably by the 9th of August. So I'll be gone for that period of time. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I won't be here for the August meeting. And I'll be out of town, like I said. Probably, we're gonna be there for 5 days, and it'll probably take me another 6 days to get there and get home. 3 days there and 3 days back. I plan on being home by the 10th, so I can go to the air show.
Okay, thank you.
You want to zoom in from Sturgis?
You probably won't want me.
Well, as long as you set the camera in a way that we can see some of the sides, that might be okay.
Okay, do we have any other board comments, announcements, reports, and agenda items?
I guarantee you I'll be altered.
Okay, item F6, closed session discussion. Anytime during a regular session, the board may adjourn to closed session to consider existing or anticipating litigation, liability claims, real property negotiations, license and permit determinations, threats to security, public employee appointments, personnel matters, evaluations of discipline, labor negotiations, or to discuss with legal counsel matters within their attorney-client privilege. And we do have a closed session discussion tonight. That would be a public